Because people, what they do is they confuse self-love with selfishness, and so a lot of people, they have selfish natures in these toxic, corrosive environments. They're not. It's nothing. There's nothing love about it. And again, this is what contributes to the toxicity in these environments, is because there is no doggone love. It's manipulation. Actually, a lot of times that's what's going on in these environments. People, they don't love each other. They're manipulative to each other, and they thinking that's love. You know what I'm saying? And so people, they grow up in these toxic environments. They get taught a certain type of way. They learned that from their parents, and then their parents pass it on, and then da 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 da. And now, through generation after generation, people are teaching these corrosive ways, and there's not actual love. It's manipulation, and it's selfishness, but it's passed off as love. You understand? And so, with people being so selfish, and they don't even love their damn self, they only care about what makes them good at that point. At some point in the relationship, oftentimes too, because people lack self love, and they more likely do not have the ability to reflect in these toxic environments. They're looking for external validation. Their ego, their pride, is what runs the show. And so, oftentimes, these environments will naturally keep on running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, where we could just say it's from a family dynamic, where inevitably the same problems keep on coming up and occurring. But because there's a lack of accountability, and people don't want to look at themselves for who they are, and they're selfish in a lot of ways, they're going to push it off to somebody else. So the actions that is made by the head of the families, or whatever situation that people might find themselves in, they only care about their damn self. Therefore, they're naturally going to destroy the other parts of the environment. And then oftentimes they don't want to take accountability, so they're going to push whatever they're doing onto somebody else. They don't want to admit that they are the ones that's running the car into brick wall after brick wall, so they're going to blame it on somebody else. There's no accountability. And so again, through this environment, people learn of this lack of accountability. They're pushing it off to somebody else. They don't learn love, they learn manipulation. People are very, very selfish in these toxic environments, and they only care about what makes them feel good or what they want to do. So it's like they don't care about the next man. They don't care about another family member. They don't care about a cousin. They don't care about the people in the community. They don't care about the next man down the block. They don't respect the next person on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like, these environments are not like that. And so oftentimes, sometimes people, they can grow up in these environments. At least this is one way that people might grow up in certain environments like this. Abuse is high. Abuse of all kinds, verbal, mental, emotional, sexual, even. Like, there's a lot of ways where there is some type of injustice and abuse that's going on in these cycles, okay? And it fuels, again, because of that selfishness, and people not taking no time to reflect or have no type of accountability. They're going to keep on doing whatever they want to do. Inevitably, the car will keep on running into brick wall at the brick wall at the brick wall. Nothing is going to change, but the problems will be pushed off to somebody else. Therefore, the problems keep on perpetuating. And then the people caught up in these cycles, they are the ones that are being abused. They are the ones that's being taken down in a lot of ways. And it's like a lot of people, they never recover. You know what I mean? If you've been scapegoated, if you've been in these toxic environments, commonly there's scapegoats, people that take the brunt of all the evils of the group, the dynamic. And again, because of the lack of accountability, they have to push it off to somebody else. These people, they lack self-awareness, and they don't want to look at themselves for who they are. But the problems are going to keep on coming up, so they got to find somebody to blame it onto. And so they find a scapegoated person, and they push all the evils off onto that person. Okay, and it's insidious. It's what people do. All in the name that they just want to. They don't look like they're the bad person, and they don't want to take accountability. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like these environments are extremely corrosive, and so oftentimes, especially a scapegoated person, they have very, very low self-esteem. People in these environments in general have low self-esteem, but it comes even lower to people who, especially if they're placed in that scapegoat role. My God, these people have the less self. These are the ones that have even less self-respect than or self-love than other people. And the reason being is because, again, in these environments, what people will do is they need to tear other people down to make themselves feel better. Okay, they live a life of comparison. That's what ego does. That's what, if you just solely operate off of ego and pride, you have to be a big fish in a small pond. And what I mean is, you have to be around people, and you're good as long as, if you're the head one, or if you know what I mean, you're good as long as everybody else around you is lower than you, or you perceive them to be. You know what I'm saying? And so oftentimes, especially if it's a scapegoat person, they might be seen as a value. They have value higher than what the head person might have. And then that's why, one of the reasons why the head person will create a scapegoat up over here. because of the value. And so what they have to do is cut everybody down. When they cut everybody else down, that builds them up because they're living by comparison. As long as everybody else is below them, they're good. As long as they're the biggest fish in the pond, they're good. That's why nobody can ascend past a certain level of whoever the head person is or the head people, or whatever this group dynamic is. You can never ascend before, over that. And if you do, it's got hell to pay. It's just simply not possible to do that. You know what I mean? And so as a result, they put everybody down, but especially a scapegoat person, their value, their self love, their ability to see themselves for truly who they are is like damn near not in existence. People, they will again project all this nastiness onto people, especially the scapegoat, and then this person will grow up with a skewed view about who they are, a very disorientated and vile view of who they are, but it's not true. They just grew up in a system where the system was punishing them for some reason. They might have punished them because they were good in something. They were punishing this individual because they didn't live up to some crazy standard. They were punished this individual for a couple of different multitude of reasons. You understand what I'm saying? Like this person might have some type of self-confidence and self-love at first, but then people want to break that up out of you because again, people, they live comparatively. So if they see a person, especially like a scapegoat person, one of the reasons why is because they might have some type of self-esteem or like high view of themselves. That is triggering to a lot of people in these toxic systems. So the head person has to tear that person down, almost down to the floor. Like, and now they're all the way down here, and the head person has to keep them down there. And then they will use other people to aid in keeping this person down here, keeping them with a skewed view of who they are, keeping them off track and things of that nature. You understand what I'm saying? And the people in the middle, they still don't have self-love. They, again, it's manipulation. It's not real. It's none of this stuff is real. There's a dictator and everybody else has to fall in line. And everybody is only doing what the head person wants because the head person wants to do whatever they want, but they do not want to take the accountability for it. They keep on running the car into brick wall after brick wall, and then they just keep on wanting to keep going. They don't want to ever look at themselves for who they are. So these problems never change. The systems only get more and more toxic. You understand what I'm saying? Like nothing ever changes. And so nobody has self-love, really. Nobody has self-respect. People, they only have comparative respect. They only have that, like they have a hierarchy in these toxic systems where you might be above this person, you might, and so you have respect and you have more respect than this person down here. That's just kind of like how these systems is ran. They don't really have true respect. You know what I'm saying? They don't have true self-love. You know what I'm saying? It's all relative. It's all comparative. And so as a result, these environments are extremely corrosive, and people, they don't see a good view of who they are. People, they have low self-esteem, especially when you don't know who you are. Oftentimes when you don't know who you are, people in the world, they will definitely tell you who you are. If you don't know, they'll definitely come in there and tell you. They'll be very happy to tell you who they are. And I guarantee you that everything that they say, it will never benefit you. It will always benefit them. They're there to tear you down. They're there to take advantage in these toxic systems. So in general, or people, they get told by people, oh, you're worthless, you're this, you're nasty, you're boo, boo, boo. You know, they get verbal. It's a lot of times they be talking about all this physical abuse. I will argue that verbal abuse that people have to suffer is even more so. The emotional and the mental abuse is more so because your scars will heal. And it's not poo-pooing the physical violence or whatever the case. It's not to say that the physical violence doesn't have effects on your mental, but I can guarantee you that the physical in comparison to that of the mental, the psychological, the emotional abuse that people will have to endure in these cycles, I will argue that that is more detrimental, and is more detrimental for this point of view. You think about something that's physical. When something that's physical, it comes at you and you're hurt or whatever the case may be. There's a timeline for the most part, especially when you're younger. There's a timeline where you're going to be in pain, and then eventually you're not going to be in that much pain, no doggone more. To eventually you're gonna forget. Like how many times have you broken a leg or whatever the case may be? You had injured yourself real badly when you were younger. Now you can't even really remember that, but I guarantee you can remember when somebody said something to you. I can guarantee you you can remember when somebody did something emotionally hurtful towards you. I can guarantee you remember these things. You can remember these things. These have deeper wounds in comparison to the physical. It's not the poo-poo the physical, but I will argue that the emotional, mental, and the psychological abuse it far outweighs everything, because people understand, the devil understands, and these people understand the way that you take people down and the way that you keep people enslaved is not to physically restrain them necessarily. You have to mentally enslave them. How do you mentally enslave them? You give them a false perception about who they are. You take away their culture, you take away their history, you take away their understanding of who they truly are, and people don't know who they are. Now they got to look out to the world for validation, and the world will never give it to you. You have to do what the world sells you to do. That's always going to benefit the world, not you. It's always going to be at your detriment if you're looking for validation from the world. And that's why the damn devil does what he does. That's why the people, his kids, do what they do in these toxic systems, in these toxic areas. And it's just sad because it's just like a repetitive cycle where somebody has to come in and break all this stuff up. A lot of people in general, they don't love themselves. They've been told their whole life that who they are as an individual is wrong, is bad, is this, is that. And I'm not saying that everybody's a peachy cream, and I'm not saying all behaviors are good. I'm not saying none of that at all. You rebuke the behavior sometimes, but you don't necessarily rebuke the person. Two completely different things, okay? But in general, people, they're made to feel like they're nothing. They're told their whole life, don't be you, be somebody else, be this person, be that person. You need to look like this. You need to catch up with the Joneses. You got to do this, and this. And people, they gravitate towards what everybody else is doing from a perspective of fear. They're afraid of what everybody else is going to say. They're afraid of not being included. They're afraid of being outcasted. They're afraid of not looking like everybody else. Toxic systems. And so as a result, those who are on the outliers, they get bullied, or whatever the case may be. They get heavily ridiculed. And then the people up over here in the groups, they don't get ridiculed as much, but they're giving up something. They're giving up their love for themselves, because oftentimes you got to abandon yourself to get in good with the crowd. You got to abandon yourself in a lot of ways, because the crowd is naturally not going to do what an individual wants to do. Sometimes an individual wants to do something that the crowd says, no, we ain't doing that. That's lame. That's weak. That's this, that's that. So oftentimes people, they would have to reject themselves, and they do early on in life, to get in good with people, to be in these toxic systems, so that they are not the ones that's target. Over time, they start to forget who they are. They don't even know who they are. They have never really, because it was beaten out of them. They've been focusing so much more to be like the group that they naturally lose themselves in the end, trying to be like the group. And again, they're losing the self-love. They're losing the self-love in the sense that with the self-love, you are who you are. Again, there's a difference between certain behaviors that is not okay. Like God says, like certain behaviors is not okay. I'm not saying that. Everybody does bad things in his life, and I'm not saying that stuff is okay. But I'm saying there's parts of you that are natural. That's truly who you are. That's how God made you to be. Not the sinful portions of them, but the actual, the other qualities. But when you're running away from yourself, being like the crowd, again, it's natural that you're going to start having like the self-love, because you are not going to do what you want to do. You're not going to go in the path because everybody else is saying that that's wrong. Everybody else is not doing that. And so the people, even in the crowd, they give up self-love too. It's just at a different scale. But the outliers, or the ones that they have more love for themselves, like the black sheep, the scapegoat, they more likely have more love. But the people that gave up self-love to join the group, they hate to see somebody else over here that actually has self-love, that actually is standing there by themselves and being who they are. When the people, in a way, they sold. And it's not to be a negative thing, because everybody does it to a large degree. So it's nothing about condemnation or saying people are bad. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything just to understand that this is just what things are and how it works. In essence, in a way, people gave up their soul, and they essentially sold their soul to the damn devil just to get in good with the group. It's not to say that you're being disrespectful to people, but that's the truth. And a lot of people who are in the group, and they know at their core that they gave themselves up, they gave their self-love up to a certain degree to be like the group. They know what I'm saying is true, and that stuff is triggering for a lot of people. They don't want to hear that, and they get defensive because they know to a certain degree they know it's true. That's why they would get so offended by you saying something like that. But to a certain degree, they gave up self-love. They gave up who they were to be in the group. They had to. They had to make that sacrifice. Now they're in good with the group, but they don't have the self-love for themselves. The person that's over here by themselves, the scapegoat one, they got more love for themselves. But what people in the group want to do is beat the person over here, the scapegoat person, or the people over here. They want to beat the self-love up out of them too. And they're very effective at doing that. They beat that individual or those people down over time. The ones that are comfortable with being themselves, that actually truly does have self-love, that is triggering to the majority. Because in a way, in essence, in a certain way, they know damn well they sold their damn soul just to be with the group of people. They know that, and that's why it's triggering to see somebody who does have self love for themselves. For these people up over here, it's very triggering. It's triggering. They misconceive and they look at a person up over here. They think that person is arrogant when it's not the case. It's confidence, it's confidence. But people who are in the group, they see things from a negative lens, and it's not actual reality. And a lot of it has to do with the insecurities that they dealing with, that they don't ever want to deal with it, because when they deal with it, they have to look at themselves for who they are, aka they have to start to come out from among the groups. They have to come from those groups and start to work on themselves. Don't want to do that. That stuff is scary for a lot of people. Truth is scary. So when they see a person that actually has love for themselves and stuff like that, and they actually have real confidence, that stuff is scary. And again, a lot of people, they lack self-awareness. This is very key. They lack self-awareness because their whole entire life they've been trying to be like everybody else. That's why they lack self-awareness so severely. They think if they have anything or they do anything outside of what the group says is okay, they're afraid of doing anything. Like they're afraid to even like be in that reality that somebody might perceive them to have a problem or whatever. So they keep running away from who they are to be in the group. They're selling their soul to a certain degree. They don't have self-love. So they don't want nobody else to have self-love. So they try to beat other people down so that they don't have self-love too, especially the scapegoated people, the scapegoated person. They are prime target number one. They are on everybody's hit list. This is why they get so much hate and vitriol. And again, a lot of these people in these toxic dynamics, they lack self-awareness. They don't have the understanding as to why in the totality of what they're doing, why they have hatred towards people, or why they, come at people in a certain type of way. I'm telling you, it's a deep-seated insecurity that people will have with the scapegoated or the individuals that do have self-love. There's a deep-seated doggone insecurity, and they might be envious that a person like that is able to express themselves or be themselves, even if they're not consciously aware of it. Meaning the people that's in this group, even if they're not consciously aware of it, this is why they might have a lot of animosity, antipathy to the purpose of over here, because they know damn well to a certain degree in deep in when they go to bed at night and their soul is restless, they know they sold their soul to a certain degree. It's not to say they can't go back, but they know they sold their soul to a certain degree. And in order to stay with the group, you got to keep selling your soul. That's why it's so triggering. They don't want nobody, they don't see that in anybody else. And so these toxic environments tries to beat that out of everybody else. They be talking about the schools. It's these toxic environments. It's your own people half the time. A lot of times it's your own people that want to beat that up out of you. You know what I mean? Like your own people will be your biggest bullies. They will be your first enemies. Not the people out in the street. You ain't like the people out in the street. They're considered to be angels in comparison to the people when you grew up with, because they want to beat that self-love up out of you. They want to beat down. So they're going to, what people do in these toxic systems, they have to validate you. Again, external validation is the highest priority when you're in these groups. External validation, how everybody else is going to think about you, how everybody's going to look at you, how everybody's going to perceive you. And it's a fearful, they institute fear that you should never be like you shouldn't be any different. And then you get chastised, and you get to a point where people, they beat you down so damn badly if you're different in any way, shape, or form. God forbid you have self-love. They want to steal that away. That's why they got to come at people like this so hard when they're going up against them. They got to talk down on them so hard. They got to nitpick everything that they do so hard. It has nothing to do with that person's actual actions. It has everything to do that people, they don't like to see self-love on another person. They don't like to see authenticity in another person. They don't like to see those things because they know at some level they gave their damn soul up, and they do not want to do the work to get up out of this group and go back over here and start to do their work, their healing work, the trauma work, to figure out like what's wrong with them and stuff like that, to figure out who they are. A lot of people that's I'm telling you, they live a life of fear. And that's what these toxic systems want you to be in. A space is fear. That's the damn devil. But they want you to be in a sphere of fear. Oh, what everybody else going to, you don't do that. Look what everybody else is going to think. What are we going to do that? Bye, 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 bye. And then also they, in general, with everybody in these toxic systems, again, there's an invalidation factor that goes on everybody, but especially the scapegoat. But on everybody, there could be, like, let's just say this is a family dynamic. There's a lot of abuse going on in these family dynamics, and this is triggering for some people. I understand this could be triggering, but I'm just, you can stay at your own peril, but sometimes you need to get things triggered because you still got to go through it. When people say, "Oh, I don't want to be triggered," I understand to a certain degree, man. Sometimes you're just not ready to go through it, but other times it's important to trigger it. It's not like it's gonna go away. It's just gonna fester. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you gotta be triggered. So, but with all that being said, you might get triggered. So if that's not you right now, you might want to leave. But in general, in these family dynamics, there's abuse going on, and then the family will be more interested in the image of how they're going to be perceived by everybody in comparison to what actually is going on. And so people or victims that are abused in these systems and these cycles and with these families, they grow up extremely scarred and jaded. And then it's almost like a double invalidation where you tell an authority figure, you tell other people in this toxic system, and they shame you. They try to hurt you. They try to shut you up. Don't you say that to other people. Don't let other people. So they're so much more focused on how everybody else is going to look and whether or not they think that this is a good dynamic, a family dynamic, or whatever the case may be. When in actuality, all this abuse is going on. And it's like they're invalidating, double invalidating, putting more pain onto the victim in this cycle. They, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how hurtful that could be for people who going through some type of abuse. Then you going to the people you think they're supposed to protect you, and they sitting there, they're chastising you. You better not say nothing to nobody. You better bop, 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 bop. That creates even more hurt and harm for a lot of people. And again, this is this self-love. Like, it's almost like they're shaming you for the actions and the negativity that somebody did towards you, and you didn't, it was never justified. You were innocent in certain cases. They're shaming you. They're trying to hurt you. They're trying to harm you. They're trying to make you think that that's a bad thing to do. So what do? You oftentimes will run away from it, is because of this extreme negative reaction you could have got from people. They don't do anything to change that dynamic. They try to hide it up. They don't want you to be a whistleblower. They don't want nobody. So they keep on hiding it. And then more and more and more and more and more abuse is going on. And so this is so doggone bad, is because it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that the people that's being abused are being abused. You know what I'm saying? And so oftentimes when those people grow up, they're going to go out there and do the same type of thing to other people. They've been running away from themselves so much. And again, our society, especially in these systems, in these toxic systems, they're only focused about the image. They don't care about anything else. They don't actually care about what's the interior. They don't care about that. They care more so about whether people think that it's a good dynamic in comparison to whether or not it actually is. In this double invalidation, especially like for the victims and things of that nature, it just leaves them in a very, very bitter downward spiral and a bitter space. And it just creates this system where it's continuously starting with this toxicity, because people, they're hiding everything that's going on. Nobody's actually confronting these problems. That creates people who have very, very, very low self-esteem. They don't have no love for themselves. And then they go out into that world and find other people, or they go out there and perpetrate, or they repeat the cycle where they go abuse other people. That's their only outlet to go do it to a certain degree. And it's not justification at all, but this is what I'm talking about with the cycle, where people are hiding things. This self-love comes up because it's, again, people, like when they are rejecting that victim who's been going through this trauma and things of that nature. It's like when they're rejecting that individual, it's like they're showing a priority of what is important, and the image is the most important. The abuse is down here. That's extremely invalidating. It's almost like people are saying, like, it's not that important whatever happened to you. That puts even more mental strain on you, because it's almost like you feel guilty for saying. And again, image is everything. So everybody, they don't tell you what they're going through. You look at Facebook, Twitter, this, and this. Everybody only showing you good parts in their life, and then they're more likely embellishing on a lot. Nobody ever shows you what's bad going on into their life. They don't. Why would they ever do that? They want the image to. So with all that being said, because the image is being upheld, it's almost like you're being demonized for being a victim in these toxic systems. Like, if you say something, you're demonized for it. Or again, people, they'll simply sit there and outright deny that even happened towards you. They will invalidate what you're saying. They will invalidate it, like as if you don't know what you're talking about, as if that just did not happen, as if, like, in people, they will join onto the bandwagon to beat that stuff and keep everybody quiet, while this abuse and all this toxicity keeps on perpetuating itself, thus allowing another person, another victim, another person in this cycle to go out there, and now they can't even express what they went through, and they don't understand why they walk around with so much trauma. They don't understand why they don't have self-love. They don't understand why they keep on going into relationships of certain kinds and things of that nature. Like, it's because they've been invalidated so much throughout their whole life, to think that the image is so much more important than the abuse in these cycles, in these systems. This is what I'm talking about, where the self love is just it's removed because you have to run away from yourself in these toxic systems. You have to run away from yourself in a lot of ways. You have to keep on keeping things hush hush. People walk around with all this anger and animosity. They don't even understand why. They got all this hatred. You got kids out here so doggone mad, ready to kill everybody, and they don't know why. They don't necessarily know why. Why do you? These are kids sometimes, teenagers and young adults. Why do they have so much hatred in their damn heart? Why are they like they're so out there for blood? Like they just hate everybody. So evil. It's because of what they've been going through that they never ever had the ability to work it out with. Who do they go to talk to? That's a very vulnerable place, and the world is not a place where you want to be vulnerable. So what do people do? They recluse even more into their shell, hiding it, hiding. And it's again, it's like you're putting the image over what truly has happened to you. So your self love is not there. It's non-existent because I mean, the more important thing is how things look in comparison to what actually happened towards you, and that would keep you with toxic people. That would keep you in an abusive cycles. That would keep you in certain areas that you should have that you were never supposed to be, or you got to get away from. But how do you even remotely get to that point if you can't even go through the trauma? If you even bring up the trauma, if you bring up what happened to you, people will shame you. They'll talk about you. They'll try to put you down and try to make it seem like you don't know what you're talking about, that you're crazy. People will go in droves and try to go out there to protect the image and make it seem as though you're crazy and that you don't know what you're talking about. Again, even more invalidation from the people that you think is supposed to have your back. Do you know how that breaks people on a level? Like it's breaking on a whole nother level in the sense that who do you go to now? Where do you go now? Where do you go to heal? If your people ain't gonna do it and your people is shaming you, what rightful way will you when you go outside that house? Who you think on the earth is gonna care if your own people don't care? But sometimes people they go out there and they try to look for love in the world. Terrible idea. You about to get dragged. You about to get dragged up and down from Timbuktu all the way over here because people will use that stuff against you and they'll put you in situations and scenarios that will benefit them and they will pimp you out in so many different ways. And you looking for love. People they understand that and they will use that to their advantage. The world is not no dumb. It's not Candyland. It's complete opposite. It's not heaven. It's the complete opposite. So that vulnerability, people don't want to be vulnerable or anything like that, and it's understandable because the world is not a place where you want to be vulnerable. So as a result, people they just hide all that trauma. They hide what has happened to them. They hide all of it. Thus, they don't have the self love. They're putting other things above their love for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, I'm telling you, these cycles they just keep on repeating, and it's very difficult for people to get up out these systems. But in general, when we even thinking about the self love, when that means is oftentimes is that you recognizing that you got to protect yourself. You recognizing that you're a human being. You got emotions and you went through a lot of stuff in your life. And it's valid and it's not wrong for what you have gone through. It's not wrong for you to admit that something happened to you. Oftentimes, admitting something happened to you is the very first step in self love because you're willing to confront the problem. A lot of people they're not willing to confront the problem. They keep on running away from it. And these people they have low self-esteem. They don't ever really get to where they need to go in life. Is because their whole life is based off the image of what everybody else thinks about them. And you can only go so far. God made people special. God made people with different talents. So if your talent is something outside of what the group deems is appropriate or whatever the case may be, people are essentially signing their own death warrant when they reject their difference and then they try to be in with they're signing their own death warrant. And this is why people they be depressed. They be so down in the depths. They don't know where they need to go in life and like everything like that. Like they're so low because they can't even admit that of the abuse and the trauma. Sometimes your brain blots that stuff out so severely and it's really hard for you even to like go back and think about like what happened. You can't even remember, but it's still there. And you'll find out that a lot of people in the world in general, but especially in these toxic systems, when they're moving out there in the world, they're moving out there based off of fear. They're reacting based off of the trauma. They're doing things based off of trauma. They might not even know why they're doing it. A lot of people they have developed survival skills in these environments. The survival skills, yet again, in toxic environments like this, is inherently going to go against you as an individual. The reason being is because the environments, the toxic environments, is not set up for the welfare of the people that's involved in this toxic system. It's not in that. No, no, no. It's all for self-aggrandizement. It's about hiding it. It's about the illusion that something looks good. It's not real. It's very fake. All this stuff is fake as ever. Fake than the $3 bill. All of it is fake. But in general, like, there's nowhere to go to heal. There's no way to even admit it. So one of the first steps in terms of like self-love is people have to actually admit what had happened to them. They have to be honest with themselves, even if they can't be honest with everybody else. And another thing is in understanding, a lot of people, they're not going to validate what you're saying. A lot of people will know that you're telling the truth about what you're saying. They will know, but they care more so about the image than what has happened to you or to somebody else, or the trauma that has been endured in certain cycles and toxic systems and things. They care more about the image. And so it puts you in a space where you can't be vulnerable with nobody. And to a certain degree, you have to have some type of vulnerability to actually have some type of life that you like, to make a type of connection with people, or, a spouse, or whatever the case may be, even with your kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, or with family, whatever the case may be, or people in the community. Like, there needs to be some form of vulnerability. If not, we're going to have what we have now, where people don't give a damn about each other. They don't care. There's no empathy. There's no understanding. There's nothing like that. Like, people will snake each other with a quickness, and they don't care. Like, it's all about them. People will kill each other over some damn Jordans. Like, it's just gotten to that level where people, they only care about the external validation in comparison to what truly has happened. And people, they keep on running away. And it's understandable in the sense that where can they go? How can they really? And sometimes the only person you can ever talk to is God about these things. Everybody else will try to invalidate what you're saying. They don't like it because certain individuals, you'll be a whistleblower, and what will happen is making people, especially the heads of these toxic systems, it makes them look extremely bad because you're saying what has actually happened to you. What has happened to you, and these people at the top of these toxic systems, that's the very last thing that that's literally the very opposite in there. Like, they're thinking only about the image. That is like, and you will be outcasted, you'll be demonized, and people will come at you in droves, even though they know you're telling the truth. But because they're so engulfed in this toxic system, and they don't want the head to be looking a certain type of way, even if they were guilty, even they're more likely guilty. Like, that doesn't justify. And so they will come after the person that's considered to be a whistleblower, and they will invalidate. And that's I'm telling you, it breaks people down at a psychological level. It's almost like where people are trying to force you to look at life in a delusional manner. Oh, just get over it and da 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 da. And then we wondering why people out here and they spazzing out in the way that they are. We wondering why. Some people, man, they didn't never have any type of love. And again, this is one of the reasons why oftentimes when you see certain people, they get into relationships and stuff like that, and it could be a first person or whatever. And of course, this happened on all spans. It's not necessarily just in toxic systems, but it's amplified in toxic systems. And what I mean is like when people, they go out there, they're dating, or they work people, or whatever the case may be. It's so difficult for a lot of people in terms of love and stuff. It's because they might be with somebody or a situation that they found, and they thought the person actually had genuine love for them. And so what happens when that person shows their true colors and it was never real, and they might have been playing a game, you know how bad that breaks people? You know how bad that sends a lot of people to the damn graveyard. A lot of people go directly to the graveyard. Another good subsection of people, they stay bitter for the rest of their life. They can never move forward in life. Like, they opened themselves up, and then they got stabbed in the heart because of it. They got stabbed, and that stuff is difficult because it's like sometimes you put a person or you put the situation on such a pedestal is because you think this is the only love that you'll ever have. And so when that carpet is pulled from up under your rug, the carpet is pulled from up under your feet, and you fall flat on your face, it's a whole nother different things. I'm telling you, with a lot of people, they go directly to the grave because of these things. They thought that they had some type of love, and it was never real. And that was probably the first time that even remotely felt any type of love or whatever. But it was not in actuality. It wasn't real love. It was probably some type of infatuation. That's what they do out here nowadays, is they get people to fall in love, which is infatuation. It's a drug. It's not, no, you should be loving people, not, you should love people, not be in love with people, but that's what we promote. And sometimes people, they be thinking that they're so in love with people that they've never had all these good feelings, and the person, whatever. And then sometimes when that stuff ends, people will be ready to kill everybody. They'll be ready to kill the kids, kill the woman, kill the man. They'll be ready to kill every doggone body. Why are they having such a strong response to this? They probably put somebody up on a pedestal because sometimes people, they come in and they play a certain role in your life. They're not actually there for you. They're there to play a role so they can get stuff up out of you. or whatever the case may be. They might be playing, whatever the case may be. And so they could have came in and gave you something what you thought what you really wanted was some type of love, which was really some type of infatuation, but they saw that you did not have the love. And so they faked it to you. They tried to play, you know what I mean? Like they gave it to you in a certain way, only to pull the carpet from upon your feet later to see you hurt. And a lot of people, they go out here and intentionally hurt other people. Like that's the only way, I'm telling you, that's the only way a lot of people, they be feeling good about themselves, is if they go out there and destroy other people. They have to look at life from a relative position, meaning that if at least, as long as they're a big fish in a small pond, they're good. As long if they can go out there and hurt other people, the only way that they feel good is when other people are hurting more than they are, and they can look down on that person. That's why the people be doing what they do. It feels good to look down on somebody else. It feels better to look at your situation and look at somebody else's situation and be like, oh well, they're doing way worse than me. And so people, they be fixated on people that they feel is doing worse to them. This is all in a way to make themselves feel better. It's not true self-love. It's not true confidence. It's not none of this stuff. But I'm telling you, this is just where we have dwindled down to with a lot of people. This is just where we have dwindled down to as a society as a whole. People, they only care about their damn self. They only care about themselves. And nobody teaches you how to truly actually have self-love. But, that's what it is. But another component sometimes, not sometimes, but another component with self-love in general, which you'll start to find is the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are extremely important. They're very, very important. But again, in toxic systems, the very first thing that they do is they remove any type of boundary. Why? Is because the head of these toxic systems, or whoever is in that position, or whoever, it could be a couple of people, is in that position. The only reason why the system is there in their head is to benefit them, is to pour into them. Like nobody's an individual. It's like you're a part of their body. I'll call it the narcissitron. You're a narcissitron. You're the arm, you're the legs, you're the heart, you're the this or that. But the person that's at the top, they're like the brain. They're the head of everything. So they're pulling everybody in as if it's one body. And they are the controller of all the whole body, if that kind of makes sense. Like they want to be the controller of all these people. So they in their head at some point, in somewhere, some in the inner recesses, even if they don't necessarily consciously think this, they thinking everybody is just around here to serve them. That like nobody is an individual. They're just an extension of them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all that other people are. So they don't care about how other people are doing. They don't care about the hurt other people. They don't care. There's no empathy whatsoever because they think everything is about them, which is not the case whatsoever. But they thinking everybody else is there just to serve them. This is very, very toxic. And so as a result, just like your body, there's no boundary with your arm. You can tell your arm to do whatever, and your arm just does it. There's no boundary with your feet. There's no boundary. You are the one that calls all the shots. You are the body. You're the brain of the body. You tell. There's no boundaries at all. And so that's why in these toxic systems, there's no boundaries. Like the brain needs to move everything. Imagine if there was some type of boundary or some type of blockage where you couldn't use your arm unless you did something else. Like, I don't know, like you had another brain. I don't know. You had something where another system had to control it, i.e. a person is an individual. That's an individual. They're not a part of the damn narcissitron, the whole body. They're an individual. But people in these toxic systems, the heads, they don't know. It's about them. It's about them. There is no boundaries. Okay. And so as a result, there is not, because there's no boundaries, there's no individualism, there's no self-love. Again, the reason being is because now people, they want you to just do whatever they want you to do at any time. It's all about them. They would create extremely corrosive and toxic environments where they will put you down, and it's all about them. There's no boundaries whatsoever. They expect you to get up at 2:00 in the morning and go all the way on the other side of town. And they just want you to come up over there and give them the remote off the ground. They expect you to go do that. And if you do anything less of that, they will punish you in so many ways. They will go out there and get everybody to turn on you and jump on your damn neck. You might be the scapegoated person if you refuse. You understand what I'm saying? Like in the same vein, they got to chop you off to a certain degree, or they got to make it that you listen to them by harming you in other ways. They thinking like because you don't go over there, you don't go get up at 2:00 in the morning, go all the way on the other side of town, and then you don't give them the remote that's a foot in front of them. They're offended by that. Like, who you think you are? What you think this is? This is how I'm telling you. This is the level of insanity in people. This is they're actually offended. And a lot of people, they buy into that dribble. And so when you don't buy into that dribble, it's almost like the arm is rebelling against the brain. How the hell can the arm rebel against the brain? How can the brain, how the arm doesn't have a brain of itself? The arm is attached to the whole narcissism. This is how they looking at it. Who do you think that you are? What do you think this is? This ain't like that, Playboy, Playgirl. No, 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 no. And they're offended. I'm telling you that they're genuinely offended. Like they genuinely sometimes don't even get it. That's what I'm talking about, where they lack self-awareness so severely. It's on a whole nother level. Like they actually think that your only job on the earth is to serve them. How dare you not serve Jesus 2.0? How dare you? How dare you not bow down to Jesus 2.0? I'm telling you, it's just it's so insane. But that they don't teach you self-love. They teach you that you always need to sacrifice for everybody, for them especially, but you don't have any rights. You don't have no boundaries. You don't have nothing. They can go out there and talk whatever. They can say whatever about you. They can do whatever. They can move here and fro. You essentially are a doormat. You essentially are their damn worksman. You essentially are nothing. Like your only job there is to serve them. Anything less is completely unacceptable. Anything less, completely unacceptable. Your whole job on this earth is to serve the narcissism, is to do what the brain tells you to do. You cannot possibly have a brain, and so they will program people growing up to have this mindset, especially the scapegoated one, especially them. They're the prime target, number one, because they're in direct opposition, even if they don't even realize it, to the damn top of the toxic systems. They're a direct opposition because they know who they are. They know what it is. They have self-love. You know what I'm saying? And that triggers people who are at the top of these toxic systems. They really are offended. They really are. And that's why I'm telling you, this is why if you was in that role, you don't understand the animosity. You don't understand all this hatred. What did you do that was so wrong? You see everybody else, they do wrong and they never get called out. Nothing ever actually really happens to them, but it's always you. And then now everybody else is dumping a mess on you. And the toxic person at the head of the system is allowing it to happen. If anything, they're sending people out to come at you. They are the ones that's behind all the damn plots that's going up against you. They isolate you as much as possible. They push you out as much as possible. They want to break you. And if you don't do what they want you to do, they're going to neglect you in so many ways, emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically. You're going to start to develop abandonment issues. And with these abandonment issues is oftentimes, again, like with the boundaries, when you set a boundary, especially when you're younger and something like that, and you are around a toxic person, you're in toxic systems, people that you're not there to have your own brain. You're only there to serve them. That's your only job. That's your only job. And you have the nerve and the audacity to think you're about to do something different from what the brain says. Who do you think that you are? This is what these people's mindsets is. But in general, they thinking that they're not supposed to be any type of boundaries whatsoever. And it's toxic for them for you to even have boundaries. The toxic person at the toxic system, the head of the person, they don't have boundaries with themselves. How can they have boundaries with everybody else? The whole system is a reflection of the toxicity at the top of the food chain. But essentially, they will dump everything onto the scapegoated person and make them feel like they're a second class citizen. They don't deserve any rights. They don't have any rights. They're worthless. They're this. They're poo poo. They try to break you down in so many ways. They really try to break you, and they'll be very efficient at doing it. But essentially, they want you to be a shell of yourself and a butler or a maid towards them. That is in your punishment. And even if you didn't do it on purpose, your punishment for you just being yourself is a complete annihilation from everybody. They will, I'm telling you, they will do whatever they can to get everybody to turn against you so you're isolated, so they have more power and control over you. This is what they do. But with you, boundaries is so important because when you have these boundaries, this is a limitation that stops where you no longer feel comfortable. You no longer want to, whatever is the inner recesses of who you are as an individual. There comes a time where, no, it's a stoppage to things. You don't just give to everybody and give. People want you to do that. They don't want you to have boundaries with what you give. But when you recognize that people, they don't reciprocate, and you said, no, I'm not about to go do that. I'm not about to give to people that don't give to me. You know what I mean? Like, and they got a problem with that. They will have an attitude with that. When you don't get up and go do whatever they want you to do, they got a problem with that. How dare you? They want everybody around them just to do their bidding. How dare you defy them? How dare you stand up for yourself? How dare you say something, blah, 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 blah. If you bring up things that even remotely criticize these toxic systems, oh my God, there's a lynch mob up after you. These people would be extremely cruel, extremely. Love is not in these situations. That is not love. It is manipulation. It's manipulation. When you don't do what these people want you to do, they will shut you out. And what they hope you would do, or what they expect people to do, and this is typically what happens for a while, until, especially when the scapegoated person grows up and understands what's going on, they will be chasing after people's love and validation their whole life. Not even realize with that love. I mean, and it's hard for them to even realize, but you can imagine, like, this is the person who's holding love and the validation, and then this is the doggone scapegoat person, or the person that is themselves that's authentic. For all the rest of their days, the person that has a lot of the power, and that this person above here, the scapegoat person, might want the love and the validation from, they're going to keep on running away. They're going to keep on running away. They're going to keep on pushing, rejecting, doing this, and this. One of their biggest powers over these people is the love and the validation. And it's fake. It's not actually real, but they would do it to everybody else except for the person up over here, because this is a way of control to keep that person up under their thumb. They do it with everybody else, but the person that gets it the most severe is the scapegoated one. They're at the bottom of the food chain. And it's like they're prime target, because they want to break that person, because that person, in essence, is almost like they're a whistleblower, and they can potentially be the one that starts the mutiny, the rebellion against whoever is at the top. They want to cut out. They consider that person to be the toxicity, the malignant tumor. That's what they will. That's who that's why they will target that individual or those people in the way that they do, because they are the biggest threat against the toxic system. They can see the toxicity way more than everybody else, because everybody else, yet again, when you grow up in cycles like this and you grow, eventually you start to just adapt to this environment, and you've been doing it for so long, you don't catch on. How can you rebut, or how can you say something is wrong as a child and you don't know nothing else? How could you do that? You only know one thing. So when they grow up, they actually will think that the person up over here that has boundaries, they will think that this person thinks that they better than somebody. Who this person think that they are? They will be upset with you. They will look at you in a certain type of way. They will have all this anger, vitriol, and animosity towards you that is unjustified and is unwarranted. Well, the reason they might, and you might be in a place like you don't get it, the reason why is because you set up boundaries. The reason why is because you're not acting like everybody else. They really do think that you're a problem. And you are, to a large degree, in these toxic systems, you're the problem, but not truly. Only in these toxic, you are the problem in these toxic systems. You got to think about life. In their eyes, it's completely topsy-turvy. It's upside down. So the way that you think that it's actually the right God-given way, in toxic system, is the complete opposite. And so it's essentially the bad people are the good people, and the good people are the bad people. Essentially, it's completely topsy-turvy. It turns around. And that's just like what it is. But again, this component of self-love, boundaries, is so important because it enables you to preserve yourself. You are like a castle. I always give this analogy. Imagine you're a castle with the most precious jewels on the interior. What people who are in these toxic systems, they want to have free access just to go in there and take whatever they want. They'll never give it to you, and they'll never ever reciprocate. That's never why you're there. You're only there to serve. So they expect you just to put down your drawbridge and allow them to go as they will, to keep on taking stuff about your stuff, and they'll never replenish it. And they expect you to always have something. And when you don't, they'll kick you to the side till you get something, and then they'll bring you back so they can use you yet again to a point where they can throw you away again. Your only objective in a lot of these toxic systems, your only objective, and the only reason why you're there is to serve them. That's your only bet. But that's why you have to be the individual to ensure that you're protecting yourself and you're protecting those jewels. Because at the end of the day, when you're dried out and everybody has taken everything that they want, again, they will take you and they will throw you outside and let you dry up like you're a raisin in the sun and do not care. They'll come back if you have something else to offer them, and they don't care. But they're offended when you actually let up the drawbridge. They're offended when you set up a boundary. It's like, no, I'm not giving you all that. If I give you all that, I can't do what I need to do in this world. Why would I do that? They're offended by that. How dare you? Don't you know that they're Jesus 2.0? How dare you? It's a sign of strength. And people in these toxic systems, they don't want people to be strong. They give people in these environments a doormatish mentality. I can do whatever I want. You can't do nothing. You need to follow me and respect me. but I will never follow you and respect you. I will never give you back. I will never reciprocate. You are only here. I'm the king. I'm Jesus 2.0. Don't you get that? This is these people's stilo, and this is how they move and operate and maneuver and everything like that. And they're offended. They're genuinely offended, and they're able to get everybody else to get on the bandwagon. They'll lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, all that, so they can get people to turn against you and stuff like that to isolate you yet again. How dare you put up boundaries for them? How dare you? But this is what you need to do. This is why God says you cannot give what is holy to the dogs. People, they be coming in trying to take your doggone jewels or take what you have, and they don't even see the value in it. They don't respect it. They don't appreciate it. And so oftentimes, again, at the end of the day, the only time that the person is getting hurt when you're in these scenarios, if you that person they're taking those jewels from, the only person hurt in these scenarios are you. You got to understand that these people, yes, they're going to have a lot of hatred and be upset, but it's not from a genuine space. It's not because it's legitimate hate in comparison, in the eyes of God. It's not a legitimate reason why they hate you. The reason why they hate you is because they can't take advantage of you. The reason why they upset with you is because you don't do whatever they want you to do. You will not allow them to walk all up over you. In God's eye, it's foolish. It's completely like, in God, and this is where you got to see life from God's eyes, because of course they have a problem with you. They think it's justified because you will not do what they want you to do. How dare you set up a boundary for them? How dare you? This is their mentality. Will never ever give you anything back. They're never. Your only job is there to serve them. How dare you? How dare you? And it's like, you know what I mean? And you might not understand that when you're younger. And so what happens is oftentimes when you're younger and you're developing these abandonment issues, people, they do this stuff to you. I'm telling you, people are manipulative in these toxic systems. If you are the one that they feel will cause the most ruckus or whatever case, or if you in a group of people that they feel like might have the most, they will attack you or the whole group in a way. They will institute these abandonment issues. Granted, knowing that they might, that you want some type of love and validation from certain individuals, they understand that, and they're going to use it to their advantage to manipulate. Again, they will run away so that you chase up after them. And when you're doing that, you don't even realize that when you're doing all that, you're losing yourself. You're losing yourself in the sense that you're removing the boundaries when you're chasing after somebody, trying to figure out like what's going on or like why they're doing whatever. They're giving you the silent treatment where they're cold-hearted towards you, why you're this, why you're that. It's almost like you're trying to take a crowbar and go and open them up. They'll give you the silent treatment or whatever the case may be. They'll do things in certain ways where you understand that you're not getting something, and they're doing it on purpose. They want you to go over and try to pry them open. And this is what you sometimes would do, especially in your youth when you don't understand what's going on. And what they're doing is they're inducing these abandonment wounds. They will abandon you when you set up a boundary. They will abandon you when you say no. And it's like, no. So one of the ways that they punish you is by doing this, all these abusive things towards you in this toxic cycle. They will run from you. They won't give you, like they don't give you acknowledgement. Damn sure no love and validation. They won't give you anything because that's their form of power over you. And they understand that. And so what they do is every time you set up a boundary, you say no, they will withhold things from you. And in certain dynamics, you need people. This is in your youth. You need individuals. And they know that. And they understand that they have a lot of power over people when they're younger, or they're in these situations where they're growing up. They have supreme power almost. And so as a way of punishment, they're going to run away. They're going to push away. They're going to neglect. They're going to do this, and this, knowing damn well that the person's going to run up after them. This helps on so many fronts, but one of the biggest things is now when people running up after somebody, the person that is chasing, they are the ones that's going to be in the submissive role. They're going to be in the less dominant role because they're trying to get something from somebody up over here that's continuously doing this stuff and running away from them on purpose. It's intentional. I always got to say, you got to understand these systems. It is intentional. It's not by mistake. It's intentional. They know what they're doing. They know. And so as a result, people, they will lose themselves in these people. And this is what they want you to do. Anytime you don't do what they want, they'll punish you in a certain type of way. And if you're not too wise, not too privy, you want something from them, they understand that, and they will manipulate you by, and they'll try to they'll get an upper hand in the power dynamic in the relationship by what they could give you. They know that you want. and they're not going to give it to you. And I mean, they're going to give you like little breadcrumbs when you do whatever they want you to do. But when you don't, they're gonna, you know what I mean. And that could be death sometimes, when, especially when you're growing up. So this just might be what situation that you find yourself in. But with all that being said, what you will find too is you losing yourself. You don't really know who you are because you're chasing after somebody so much. This is another way that they break down those boundaries. This is another way where they tear away of your confidence and your self-esteem. This is another way that they get at you and your self-love. They institute this idea that you're worthless and you have no value. It's lies. It's nothing but lies from the pits of hell. But they understand that this is how they can get at you, and it's insidious because, again, you could be in your youth and you're none the wiser of what's going on. And so they can have profound effect on you. And this is oftentimes when you start to walk away from this toxic system and you go out there in the world, you find yourself consistently in different toxic systems and you don't understand why. And you don't understand why getting the same treatment. The reason being is because you had a model in your youth that you thought was right. This stuff was never love, but you're thinking it's love. And so you go out there and you think other people that have the same actions as the people back here, you think that's love, but it never was. It was manipulation. It was control. It was selfishness on a whole nother level. It was never love. It was never love. And so you thinking it's love when you go out there in the world, and then the world drags you. You don't understand why. You don't understand the root cause of all this. And then you don't have love for yourself. You don't have respect for yourself because you've been beaten down to such a way where you felt like you had no value. You've been beaten down and made to feel like you're stupid, you're worthless, you're not attractive, you're slow. You are an outcast in so many words. You are a problem. You are the spawn of Satan. And I'm telling you, some people, man, they don't go through this. They could be very judgmental of individuals who have gone through these things, and they don't understand the psychological damage. And to a certain degree, a lot of people that be judging, they do to a certain degree because they know damn well that they don't want to go through it. They know damn well, but in their head, they're thinking about it like, oh, well, I don't have to go through it because I'm better than that person. This is what they be thinking in their head, but they'll judge you. They'll judge you if you're going through those problems. The crazy thing is, like, they have no empathy when you be going through those things. But when these people are faced with challenges that you might be good at, now they want empathy. Now they want understand. Now they want people to understand what they're going through and why, what type of upbringing they had. Now they want that. But when it was on the other foot, and they had certain advantages in life where they weren't treated the exact same way as a scapegoated person or whatever, or people up over here, when they were at least validated to a certain degree, they were all good. They had all the, they were like, how stupid are you? Like, how can you not understand? Or like, they have no understanding or empathy. But when they going through things that you might have learned or another person might have learned, when they're going through it, now they want understanding. Now they want people to understand what type of situation that they grew up in. You see, now they want mercy. Now they want understanding. But when the shoe was on the other foot, they never gave it. You see what I'm talking about? Where they have to keep on filling up their damn ego in these toxic systems. They have no mercy. They have not a shred of mercy. So if you found yourself in that, it's important to give yourself grace and understanding of what you've been through, and don't beat yourself up for what you've done or what you went through. It's impossible sometimes to understand like the value and the gravity and understanding your actions and why you move in the same. Like you were young. How could you have ever known? People will be working on you since the day that you're born. How in the world could you have ever known that? In time, you learn. But the thing is, you get a leg up in life because the people that's sitting over there judging you and what you didn't know and how you moved and everything like that, while they're over there judging you, you're still able to progress forward and move forward in life. Whereas the very same individuals that sitting there judging you, talking about you, trying to put you down and stuff like that because of what you did and did not know, when it comes to things that they did and do not know, they stay stagnant in life. They stay stuck. This is why oftentimes they could be talking all the mess that they want to, but it's like when you start to get your bearings and stuff like that, like they still stuck all the way back here. You 2,000 miles ahead, 200 billion times miles, because you have the ability to learn. You humble enough to understand that you're not the best, and you learn from those situations. Whereas these people in these toxic systems, they operate off of ego and pride. They think that they know everything until the day that they run into something where they don't know. Now they want sympathy, but they don't grow. They don't grow. And that is why, because they sit there and judge everybody else. But in general, with that boundary component of it, toxic systems do not allow boundaries. And sometimes you develop survival tactics in these environments. And so sometimes you forget. A lot of times people, they forget that in environments, the toxic systems, they knew to a certain degree when they were younger that this is not healthy. But in order to stay in this environment and to live, you had to adapt to the environment. You had to make certain things. You had to survive. But oftentimes when people get up out the situation and they're no longer necessarily in those toxic systems, they forget that they had to develop survival tactics to survive in certain places. So now they're going to go run right back into other people, other spirits. It's the same spirit, different body. They're going to keep on running right back into the same systems that they found when they were younger. And because it's their survival tactics will not work on a healthy person. It will only work with toxic systems. It won't help working because that's not, you know what I'm saying? It's only going to be a benefit to people who actively, who've been in these environments, who have the lack of self-love, that's been beaten down in the way that they have. They will naturally have to go and find other people, because when they get with people that are healthy, they think that that's not even love. They think that it's because it's not matching to what they've seen their whole life, what they've grown up in. And another thing is because you don't want to think and see people for who they are. You don't want, like, that's damn near death too. Like, you have to blind yourself to a certain degree. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes things are so traumatic that you can't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, to see certain individuals in the light, that's damn near death. And so you have to fool your damn self sometimes. You have to flip the script. Oh, this person does love me. They just mad right now. Oh, this person does love me. I'm just messing up. Like, you put the blame on yourself. You don't put it on that person that needs to go on them, because again, they have a system where they don't take any type of accountability, and they will convince you that something is wrong with you. You were the one that was at fault. And if you're in these situations long enough in your youth, you do think it's your fault. You do think that this is real. You do. But they set you up with a mindset that's completely ass backwards. They set you up with a doormatish mindset that they will always have access and do whatever they want in your life. It was always intentionally done this way. So you just might find yourself in these situations. But, to go back to those abandonment issues, with all that being said, they leave you when you had those boundaries up. And so what you'll unconsciously do is you thinking that you need to tolerate behavior. The only way that you stay and survive in certain areas, the survival tactic, is to give in. Is to be on walking on eggshells, is to be hyper vigilant, to make sure that you're giving stuff to people. You come to the conclusion, oh, I'm not that important, that everybody else is more important than me. And so when you come to that doggone conclusion and you're walking on eggshells and stuff like that, you're starting to lose the self-respect that you have for yourself, slowly but slowly, surely but surely. And this is what people want you to do in these toxic systems. This is just simply what they want you to do. They want you to continuously give in to them. They will institute guilt and shame as manipulation tactics, and they will enforce those abandonment issues of you're worthless. When you set up a boundary and you say no, they will continuously keep on going back to the guilt and shame complex and abandoning you. And so you don't even understand consciously. You're learning and they're training you to remove the boundaries. And if you don't, then they're going to leave. And so you take that mentality, that survival skill out there in the world, and you're using the same thing that you're afraid that people are going to get up and leave if you say no. So now you got people dragging you up and down from here to Timbuktu. And this is not about condemnation. This is not about talking down. And I know this trigger people, but I'm telling you, this is the only way that sometimes you got to admit the truth about what it is. You got to be real with yourself at some point. Simply ignoring it will never fix the problem. So sometimes I know people that don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. It's the truth, and the truth will set you free. But what you'll find yourself is you feel like the only reason or the only way that you stay connected to people is by doing. And this is what they want. I'm telling you, this is what the mentality they want you to have. You have no rights. You don't even have the ability to be yourself. They will, again, people who are in the crowd hate to see people who are being themselves. It reminds them of who they truly are and what they gave up just to be in the crowd. So they gotta, instead of working on themselves, the easier thing is to tear that other person down. And that's what they will do. And so if you're finding yourself in these situations, these people will come at you left, right. And it's like the people that you got love for the most, they will be your biggest enemies. They will be. They would be your biggest enemies, your biggest haters, your biggest villains. It's not the people out on the street. It's not. That's a hard conclusion to come to. But when you do that, you realize the tactics that people was using on you. People, they were able to get things up out of you, and you don't understand how people were able to get over on you, manipulate you in certain type of ways. When you set a boundary, you don't understand like how they are able to get you to cave sometimes in your life. And the reason being is because they saw that you had abandonment issues. They saw that, and they understand that you might you if you have those abandonment issues and it's manifesting, they know that you might not have other people around you that actually they give a damn about you. They know that, and they'll probably observe you and stuff. Like, they know to a certain degree that they can get you, because if you have these abandonment issues, more likely you were already isolated. More than likely you are already, because you had to be in order to fulfill a certain role, and people test you. So they see that you have the abandonment issues, and so they already understand what your psyche is. Again, they know that you more likely are already isolated. They know that people don't give a damn about you, or whatever case. And I ain't trying to be disrespectful, but I'm telling you, they know these things. They know to a certain degree like what your mindset is. They understand that like you are in a position where you are more so worried about whether or not people will like you in comparison to respect you, in the sense that you want people to accept you. You are more so looking at acceptance. So you're more willing to tolerate the BS. Where else are you going to go? This is how some people, they know, very predatory people, they've been around the block. They know they might have gone through it themselves, but they know to a large degree they're predators. They can see you, and so they're going to use it against you. And this is how people will be able to get you to do things. They'll guilt trip you, they'll shame you, and they'll make it in such a way like, oh man, you ain't coming through for this person. Oh man, this person, they'll institute these lies and distort reality. And again, everybody's doing it to a certain degree. You be thinking it's true, because it's like all around you, and everybody is going against you. Groups, and groups, armies of people going up against you, saying that you're the one that's wrong. And even the strongest man sometimes will break down, thinking like, oh man, maybe it is me. But the fact of the matter is, it's a lie from the pits of hell. That damn devil's a liar, and it was never you necessarily. Not say that you ain't have to work on yourself and you ain't never did anything wrong, but the way that these people coming up against you, no, 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 no. They want to invigorate those abandonment issues. Those are core wounds, and you make decisions based off of your trauma, whether or not you understand it. So this is oftentimes how people can guilt trip you, shame you, and manipulate you. Oh, this person really want to see you. That's messed up, man. If you don't go see this person, man, look at all the stuff that they did for you. Oh, that's so wrong. This person made all these sacrifices, and this could be nothing but pure and utter lies. And sometimes it's not even necessarily lies, but they're embellishing. They're like they're trying to make it seem more important than it actually was. But they understand that your brain, what you're thinking in your brain with those abandonment issues, you're afraid that these people are gonna walk away if you don't do what everybody says. You're afraid that you're gonna be alone if people ain't got don't like you. You're afraid of these things, so you give in to these things. And this is where a big pitfall that you might find yourself in is, because now you're doing things purely based off of fear. And so now you always gonna get caught up in situations. People can keep on getting stuff up out of you, and people programmed you in these toxic systems with that mentality on purpose. When you don't give, they're going to abandon you, and that's one of their greatest powers. So that's why it's so important to understand the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are for you. Of course, people ain't gonna like your boundaries. Of course, people are going to make it seem as though that you're wrong. But this is your abandonment issues when you feel like you should cave. It's not to say that you shouldn't be taken into account, and you should sometimes be selfless with people. But people have to understand the value of what you're doing. You don't give what is holy to dogs. If people don't understand the value, they just gonna sit there and spit on it. They're gonna spit on whatever you're doing. They're not appreciative of what you're doing. They're only using it as a method to get over on you. And so that's why you have to protect yourself, because nobody else is going to protect you. And you'll see that. God will show you that in these toxic systems that you've grown up. How have these people be treating you? How they be coming against you, or stuff like that? This can also contribute to the point that you don't have any self-love, because when you say yes to other people all the time, oftentimes you're saying no to yourself. So you're putting other people above you. And again, it's important to be selfless, but you need to give it to people who understand the importance of it. You cannot always be selfless with selfish people. That's only you that's going to be hurt in the end. Of course, these people want you to have no boundaries. Of course, they don't want you to change, because in changing, they can't benefit up off of you. It's nothing about you. And I know, again, this might trigger some people, but I'm telling you, you got to be brutally honest. It's not about you. It's about what you have in your hand. It's about the control over you. It's about what they want. They will use any tactic to come in and get back at you. If they got to shame you, they'll do it. If they got to use other people to come in and make you feel bad, they'll do it. If they got to do whatever it takes to reinvigorate those abandonment wounds, if you're not too privy of it, you're falling into their traps every time. Every time. You're afraid that if you say no, people will walk away. And so with boundaries, you have to get to a point where you realize, or you come to the understanding that they gotta go. If they want to walk away when you say no, let their asses walk, because you'll know in time that they don't supposed to be a part of your life. They're not there for you. They're gonna bring hell and chaos. You understand what I'm saying? So if they get mad at you when you say no, you already know that these people ain't even on your side in the very first place. They're not there for you. They're there for what they can get about your hand. They're getting upset with you and they coming at you different because you said no. You could have said yes 99 times and they didn't never reciprocate what they gave, what you gave to them. They never reciprocated it back and they never ever will be. They'll give you breadcrumbs potentially. They'll try to act like it to a certain degree. Yes, they're going to have a problem, but you got to understand you can't sit there and dwell on that. You got to understand it's not your fault. It's not your problem that these people don't have a problem with that. They're not there to help you. They're there to steal from you, to take from you. You cannot give what is holy to dogs. You know what I'm saying? So boundaries is so important because it gets to a point where people got to go. If they got an attitude, they can go. If they don't want to, if they feel, if they try and use these people are not there for you for the very first place. They're users, abusers, they're takers, and sometimes it's hard to spot these people because you've grown up with them your entire life. You never know, but now you can see. And this is a way of self-love. When you say no to other people and you say yes to yourself, oftentimes this is a manifestation of self-love and strength. You don't have to go over there and be everything for everybody. For a lot of times, no, if people ain't reciprocating it, you don't have to do a damn thing but live. You ain't got to do a damn thing but die. That's all you got to do, really. Nothing else you have to do. And people will, you got to look at people and you got to look at your situations in order to strengthen your boundaries. What do you want? Who are you as an individual? What will make you a certain type of way? And again, this is not about condemnation, but again, like I said before, sometimes you got to go through hell to understand the value of peace. What will bring you peace when you're interacting? Sometimes the best way that you get peace from people is to cut their asses off with the quickness and leave them in the rearview mirror. That's the only time you get peace with these type of individuals. Some people are so damn toxic and corrosive, they're done. That's how you get peace. Don't give a damn. You'll start to develop a colder, callous heart in the sense that you got to sometimes understand when to be cold and callous. You got to be cold hearted sometimes. Yes, you got to, like, people that be upset, of course. But the thing is, it's like you got to understand that this is nothing that is anti God or something like that. This is actually pro God. You can't give what is holy to the dogs. You light and dark don't mix. They just don't. And so you can't look at people from what skin color they got or how, y'all blood type or where y'all come from or whatever case may be. You have to look at them from their spirit. You got to look at, because when you're looking at people purely from flesh, you don't see the damn demon in beside. You don't see that damn demon. You giving people the benefit of the doubt who don't deserve it, who don't deserve a damn thing. They've showed you consistently who they were. They don't. They showed you consistently they'll never contribute to you. They showed you consistently they don't like you. They showed you consistently the only time they're gonna mess with you if you give something to them. And then the second they get something from you, they get up and they dip like they ain't nothing. They will guilt trip you and shame you all the time, knowing damn well that they pressing those abandonment wounds over and over again. And as long as they're in there and you're afraid to get left, you're afraid to be by yourself, you're afraid, people will get over on you. But the moment that you step about that energy and the moment that you realize what's going on and you realize that people ain't there for you anyway, it hurts. But you'll start to move in a manner where you start to cut and cauterize relationships, people and bonds and ties and stuff like that. This is self-love at its finest, where you're maintaining your peace. Nobody gonna give a damn about your peace like you. Nobody gonna be care about your happiness like you. Nobody. Everybody else is worried about themselves. And sometimes, again, like I said just a second ago, you got to go through hell. You've been through periods in time in your life where you gave to everybody else. Your boundaries was not there. You gave, and look how people spit in your face at the end of the day. They didn't even appreciate it. Half of these bastards didn't even have the audacity to say thank you. And even if they did, it was fake. It wasn't real. And you'll see in time that what I'm saying is true. Sometimes it's best to be at war with the world and at peace with yourself than be at war with yourself and at peace with the world. The world is not here to give; it's here to take, to crumble, to smash, to take, and your whatever you have, it's a gift from God. You don't give that to the damn devil. You don't give that to demons. And again, regardless, these people, if they treating you a certain type of way, they not of God. That's the damn devil. You don't patty cake with the devil. You don't mess around with his kids. And a lot of these people is his kids. That's his kids. You don't mess around with the damn devil. You don't patty cake. You stay around demons. You got to become the damn devil just to stay around demons. I'm telling you, people will get you to a point where you go in there with an AK-47 and shoot up every goddamn thing that's moving. And now you're going to be on Channel 6 News. Now you're going to be on Channel 6 News. That's why you got to get up and leave people where they are and see them for who they are. People that got problems with your boundary that was never there for you from the very beginning. They got a problem with your boundaries because they're not there to actually build something with you, to have a healthy, productive relationship. They're there to take. That's why they get so upset when you set a boundary. They're offended. They feel entitled that you just need to do whatever they want you to do. Delusional on a whole nother level, but they got away with it for so long because you might have not loved yourself. But God teaches you a lot of times self-love. He shows you how people will treat you so badly if you allow it. He'll show you how, even though you got love for people, they will drag you through the mud. He will show you how, even though you've given all that you could give, people still turned around and spit in your face. He's showing you that these is damn demons out here. These the children of the damn devil. Not to be disrespectful, some of these people can change, but as long as they don't change their damn behavior, they're the damn devil's kids. They're the damn spawn of Satan. And they're not there in any, regardless of the title, they're there to take. They're there to destroy, to steal from you. That's why you got to look at people from their spirit, not their flesh. No, because demons hide. And these people got goddamn demons in them. And as long as you're around, they're gonna keep on coming at you. They're not there for you. They expect you to sit around and take the morsels of breadcrumb. And again, maybe you put up with it. Not maybe, you more likely put up with it for a long period of time. Because one of the major powers that people had over you was the love and the validation that they knew they can give you, and they knew that you were seeking from them. They knew they was inducing these abandonment wounds onto you, and it was intentional, so they can have power and control over you. As long as you wanted the love and validation, they had the ultimate power. But the thing is that people didn't realize is when God came in and your lowest parts of your life, when everybody else was gone, when everybody else was turning their back, when everybody else had something to say, when everybody else thought that you was better than you, when everybody was two-faced, they turned their back on you and everything like that, God never switched up on you. He never did. He was never embarrassed about you. He never was sitting over there talking about you to other people. He was never doing that to you. He never did. The entire time, he was the only friend. He was the only person that you really can come to. He was the only one. Even if you ain't necessarily know, but he was the one that was sitting there encouraging you every day, strengthening you, teaching you, and moving you and guiding you in the way that you needed to be. It was always God 100% of the way. And a lot of times, God will show himself because everybody else will turn their back on you and they ain't going to help you. They not going to do a damn thing for you. If they go out there and they actively trying to destroy you, people that you least expect, the ones that you got to love the most, biggest enemies. And so you get to a crossroad and you God will show you all these things. And all the hell that you have to endure in your life. He's sitting there looking at you. I was the one that got you through everything. I was the one that was there supporting you with everything. I was the one that was breathing life, giving you strength, teaching you and everything like that the entire time. None of these people was clearly never on your side. So you want the love and the validation for people that's always spit in your face. That's all. They never was there. They're not there, and they're not upset or angry with you setting these boundaries because it's genuine and it's justifiable. No, they're angry because it's all about them. It was always about them. So sometimes God will come in that pit and he'll ask you this question like, are you ready to change? Are you ready? Are you really? And if you say yes and you dead ass really serious, It's a done deal for people. It's the last nail in the coffin for people because God will give you the love and the validation. It's a done deal. And through all the hell that you're going through, he was showing you how to strengthen your boundaries, what boundaries and how important it was. He was teaching you so many lessons about how people are, regardless of who they are. Regardless, he showed you how, though you do all these good things for people, they'll still turn around and spit in your face if they're not the right person, if their spirit ain't right, because it's a damn demon in your face. He's showing you all this. And he's showing you that you didn't never need these people. You never needed their love. You never needed their validation. You never needed none of that stuff. All you needed was God in the end. But people, they had to keep you away from God. And they did that by making you think intrinsically that everything on the interior was horrible. It was wrong. It was bad. It was this. It was that. They were trying to project, not trying to, they were projecting the hate that they have for themselves. They wanted you to hate yourself just as bad as they hated theirs. They wanted you to join the brigade. They wanted you to be like everybody else. They hate to see you being yourself. They hate to see that you got self-love. It's because they know damn well that they never had it. Because they gave their self up. They gave up their soul to be with the group. And they, as long as nobody else is doing it, they're somewhat okay. They're able to soothe their pain a little bit. They're able to ignore. But the moment they see somebody that's not like that, it triggers them because it's a reflection of who they are. And God will show you all of this. He'll show you all of it. He'll show you, even though you're doing positive, look how negative they are. Even though you're doing this, look what they're doing towards you. Is this what you want to stay in? Is this the situation, the scenario you want to keep on going with? Because these people going to kill you. These people will take you out. These people are not there for you. They're plotting on you and stuff like that. He break it down on so many levels. And if you say yes, he take you up out of there. And then it's a done deal with people. He gave you love and validation. It was a done deal. It's a done deal. That self-love is so important because the self-love, it keeps you balanced and at peace in this life. Your life ain't supposed to be stressful. People who's bringing drama and chaos into your life, you gotta sit there and understand that that is not God. And anything that's not God is going to destroy you. Naturally, you're going to have problems. Naturally, there's going to be things that arise. But consistent patterns of drama, chaos that is easily avoidable, and it's just people and that just how they acting, how they moving and stuff like that, trying to tear you down. They want to remove the self-love from you. They want you to remove it from you. They want you to feel like you're inadequate because they know damn well that they gave their own damn soul up. They hate themselves. They hate themselves. I'm keeping it real with you. They hate themselves. They hate themselves. But they can medicate themselves long enough as long as everybody else is doing it. But God gave you another way, and he will give you another way in the end. He'll show you why self-love is so important. And the reasons why is because you don't have to live a stressed life. That's not what your life is supposed to be like. You don't have to live in a life of fear. You don't have to, like, that's not why you're here. When people are trying to induce chaos, fear, anarchy, they are not of God. Again, that's why you look at them from their spirit. They're coming at you with all this stuff. That's not God. That's not love. It's manipulation. It's manipulation. People, they be saying what is actual love. You know, it's love. It's kindness. It's patience. You know, it's enduring. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not boastful. It's not envious. It's not all these things. And these people, they can't. Like, they'll say they love you all day, and it's the furthest thing from the truth. I don't even know half of these people actually believe it, but it's the furthest thing from the truth. And the thing is, if people don't love their damn self, how the hell can they ever love you? And that's another thing. When you start to love yourself like that, you're able to spot other people who love themselves too. Sometimes when you didn't love yourself, the people that you saw love yourself, that did love themselves, you saw them as weird, or you might see them in a negative light. But now you're on the other side, you can spot these people clear, and you can spot the toxic one extreme. And it's like, now you got your peace. You ain't never giving that up. People got cut off with the complete quickness. And that's the greatest form of self-love. And this is how a lot of times these people, they wither away. A lot of these people, I'm telling you, They have so much anger and animosity towards you because they know damn well at some level they gave up their soul to be with the crowd. It's not to say they can't change. I'm not saying they actually sat down and wrote out a contract with the devil, but it's like a contract. It's like it's an informal contract. As long as you give up yourself, you can be with the people. People of the world will accept you. But if you go the way with God, if you go the way with God, the world is gonna hate you. Period. Period. And truthfully, they don't necessarily even hate you. They hate their damn self. You are a reflection. You are a mirror. You are a mirror. And so when you're moving forward, I'm telling you, your life will get so much peaceful, so much more peaceful. And a lot of people, they don't understand how to get there. A lot of them are not willing to change. They're not. They still operating off of trauma there. And it's hard to see somebody else succeeding when you're not winning in life. And they cannot move forward in life if they don't fix those traumas. They're going to keep on making the same decisions over and over and over again because pride and ego. They're more so worried how people will look at them in comparison to how things really are. So with all that being said, keep on loving yourself, man, and understand the importance of it. So with all that being said, I keep you on the flip side. Peace.